Get in a bit closer so you might be able to see what I'm doing. I don't have my glasses on, so I don't know how well you're going to be able to see this. But within here, there's right there is where the LED light is, and this, there's a spot here for it to fit, and it clips in on the side. This here little PCB comes out. It's held in this corner, and it's held in back here. It's not hard to take out at all. You can do it by your fingers. Just go ahead and spread the clips apart and pull down. Worked last time I tried this. It's one of those things you need to be careful about, but isn't real hard to do. Got one side done. Makes it a little harder with gloves to get fingernails in there, and it's apart. Wahoo. Okay, now that it's apart, grab your favorite pair of tweezers, put the guy back in, the next one in the way you want it. And so that's in the way it needs to be there. Now this, you need to be careful. You don't want to bend these guys out that direction. That one's bent a little, so we'll bend it, both of them back just a little bit. They'll probably bend again. You can see here, now I knocked everything apart, but you can see here where the little clip is that's got to go into the base. So let me grab my tweezers again. Put this back in position, okay. You need that positioned at the back. And then you push down, and the whole thing, if you're lucky, clips in. You have to do a little bit of massaging sometimes to make sure, but sure the clips are actually clipped where they're supposed to be. Take your time, get it all in there. Good. Now the only thing I notice, it's hard to see, but these little guys here aren't all the way back against the white plastic where they should be. That isn't a big issue, other than I have to be very careful when I try and put this in. Otherwise, those are going to catch, and it's going to make life a little more troublesome. Anyway, so there's that. And I need 2 of my copper contacts. So I'm just stored in the bag here. 1, 2 of those. And I'm going to need 1 of my light bars. So those again are the 3 pieces that go in. So let me move them out of the way here. And then bring in the next car that I'm going to do. And in this case, it's an observation car. This one will be a little more exciting because you can see some lights on the baggage car. You can't see a lot of lights. But I figure once I'm doing the lights, I might as well do them all. Again, this is where you go to the Kato site, and when you go there, well, first off, before we do anything, we know which way's forward on this. Doors are forward. The reason I know that doors are forward is because when I go to the observation car, it's really easy to tell which is the front and the rear, and it has doors forward. So I put doors forward on everything. It's the only way I know. And as I mentioned earlier, when you look, you'll see on the bottom metal wheels. And if you look inside here, you'll see the contacts. They go to the copper strips that go all the way along the bottom, so 8 wheels of pickup. In order to knock these apart, it's really simple. You just go ahead and find a spot where you can get your fingers into the little, you can see here, I can get my thumbnail, even with gloves, in there. I can get it in there. That means I can do the same thing here. Get my fingers, find a spot, and spread it apart and kind of pull down with my fingers on the front, and the whole thing pops off. So I said that this part was forward. Oh look, windows came out again. That's okay, we'll just leave that there for now. We'll pop those back in a sec. So when I do this, what do I notice? Well, I notice here, there's my light bar. It's going to go in there because there's no spot to put it there. So regardless of what's forward or what's backward, it doesn't matter. That's the only spot I can put my light bar. In order to put it in, the first step is I grab my little copper strips that look like that, and if you look at the end, you can see here there's a little slot that these guys go in. They virtually fall in till they get to there, and then I just take my little probe and I just push them in a little bit. That's all it takes. If you have to force it, you're doing something wrong. I've never had to force one. I've never had any real resistance. They all just kind of drop in like that. And I just make sure they're all the way forward. Why all the way forward? Because that white thing has to fit in here, and it puts pressure against there, and these guys press against here and here. So that much room has to fit in where there's no space whatsoever there. If these bars had been a little bit wider or tighter or higher, it would have been easier, but they aren't, so you have to kind of worry them in. And I can't even see lined up properly. That one's lined up properly. I'm just going to push on those two little pieces of copper to make sure they're as far over as they can go. Push the light fixture back down and just work that a bit. Everything's looking good. Now, now before putting the top on, or the next step, I want to make sure that's working right. So, go over to my test track here, which is right in front of me, and there it is, and it's set on DC. We'll make it go forward, and what do we got? We got light. Okay. The flickering is because I have dirty contacts, and I haven't cleaned the track in a month probably, so once I put a little bit of weight on it, no problem. And while you can't see it, I have a switch down here as well, so it goes through the turnout just fine. Okay, so we're perfect that way. So we'll turn that off, and we'll go to the body and the light piece that has to go in. First step, because this came out, we'll snap the windows back in. And first attempt didn't do it right. They just slide into little clips. They're not hard to fit in. It's a little finicky, that's all. And I can see that that's in okay along that side, that's in okay along that side. Now this light strip that we're going to put in, see it has the white along here, goes from it's going to go like this. You can see. So the white part has to go to the top of the car, and the wide part has to go away from the light bar. So now what we need to do is make sure we get this. Now it's shorter, so you need to figure out where it's going to go. Where it's going to go is, I don't know if you're going to be able to see this or not, right there. Yeah, right there is a little clip with an indentation, and I know that that matches up. If you feel for it, you can feel that little tab right there on both sides. So I know that will match up right. I don't want to do it upside down, which is what I do. It's going to match up exactly like, well, it's going to match up to that window in the car. So it will either go in like get it to the top. So it's going to match up to that window. It's either going to go in like that, or it's going to go in like that. Goes in like that. And I would have put this on. You can see it doesn't match up with the light bar at all. If on the other hand I do it this way and it matches up, it's going to match up perfectly with the light bar. The other thing is this mechanism here is hidden by the door. So my bet is that's the best place to put this thing, is put the light into here. If the light goes into here, that means this goes that way, and we're going to pop it in and find out whether that's all correct or not. Just nestles in, line up where and it clicks in. Once it clicks in, doesn't move back and forth. It's held because where I mentioned here these little clips are, and it's in there good. Like, it's not, I mean, if I hit it as hard as I could, it would come out, but you can see where it's in there. So now all that we have to do is put this in thusly. Not hard to put in at all. And you probably can't see this, but if you look through the windows, there's not much coming through. Like, you can't see where the light bar kit is in here. If I'd had it on that end, you probably could have. Now, let's test that out on our DC track. So before I turn it on, we'll zoom out so you can see everything, and we'll turn it on, and you get lights. Now, again, you get a little bit of flicker there because it's a dirty track, but you can see the lights through there. Well, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to set this up so you can get a better view of the light. So we'll pull it off the track. We'll put it on here. Okay. So now you get a much better idea of what the lighting looks like. And what you can't see is you can't see directly any lighting through here. But what you can notice is that even back here, I mean, the light source is here, it's a little bit brighter, but it diffuses quite nicely. Once you get down here, remember this is where the bar stopped, you still get a little bit of light. And I'm going to show you that little bit of light once we are running the whole train. There's also a little bit of light in the dome because there's just enough that seeps up. You won't notice that until you're actually running this at night. But the dome lights up just a little bit, which is actually quite prototypical. Anyway, that's another car done. I'm going to keep going.